So we revel in the fact that it is President's Day. Do we not, Michael?
We do. It's a Monday President's Day, and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you can find us here at this spot on your internet.
On your Facebook dial.
This is what I'm looking for. Your internet equipment, your pilots, your handheld, whatever it is, your laptop, your desktop. We don't really care.
Yes, if you connect to the internet, you connect to Mikey and Vinnie.
And we want to thank all the people who invented the internet. I met the guy at UCLA who actually invented the internet, the World Wide Web, as a means for scientists to contribute ideas to one another. And he had no idea. Now, this was 1999, 2000, somewhere in there. In other words, 25 years ago. Now, what the internet has become since then was beyond even what we were guessing about then, when the internet was already invented and being used worldwide. But it's transformed again, some for the better, some not. And I just wonder if he's still alive, what he thinks of it now. Because it was very humble. He said, you know, I can't take credit for any of this because I had no idea that this would be the way it would be used. This was not its intent, and it was not our dream, and we weren't looking to the future and saying, you know, everyone's going to thank us for this because now Mikey and Vinnie can do their show somewhere.
Well, I think that he was looking ahead to the future and saying that this, you know, listen, someday there's going to be these two guys, Mikey and Vinnie, they'll meet at a radio station. 35 years later, they'll be doing a show on the internet. Who knew that they were going to invent all the stuff around it that would make it possible?
It's funny. I thought just yesterday, we've been doing this on the internet longer than we did KJR.
I had that same thought yesterday. Isn't that funny?
That's crazy. We both had that same thought yesterday.
Yeah. What did we do? We did KJR for 4 years.
I think less, but I don't remember accurately.
Wasn't much less because I have that ball that says Mikey and Vinnie 3.5 years. So, well, no, 3 years.
3.5 is funnier.
I got that thing says Mikey and Vinnie 3.5 years. So that would have been 93, 94, 95. 96. So it was somewhere kind of in the middle of 96, right?
Yeah, because, well, I don't know what the last thing we did was, but we did the Mariners playoffs in New York and in Cleveland.
Right. And then we were still, that was 97. No, that was 95, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that was 95. And then we went all through, you know, we got halfway through 96. And they split us up just before the NBA Finals.
So we stopped doing banging the boards.
Yeah, I remember that they split us. They put me on nights, and they put you. Was it Rod Long?
For about a week.
And, you know, tell him, well, I don't want to go into the story on the air, but it was a malaise of misinformation.
Well,
had I thought that what was going to happen, it wouldn't have happened.
It's a funny thing that I never worked at a radio station that had more managers. They had John Dreisel, they had Bill Lee, they had the guy from Cube.
Michael O'Shea.
And they had Michael Shea. They had
Lance.
Who was in charge, for crying out tears?
Bob. Let me see if I got this now. When we first started, it was Draisel and it was Tom Lee
Right.
and Barry. Barry was, of course, the big boss. He ran the place, but
He ran the place,
you
as
never,
did his son.
yeah, you never really saw him around there. Once in a while he'd come in and be pissed off at the board operator at night because he didn't know the score of the game, um, or something like that. But for the most part, they were pretty hands-off people, unless they needed to be hands-on. The daughters would come in, and the daughter would come in and do her charity thing, and then once they made that merger with and became New Century Media, then it seemed like all those offices. Remember, they had the office machine company was on the other side, and they
Yeah,
chased them out, and then they had an office for every manager, and they
and
had managers up the yang.
there was discussions that were actually in public about who was in charge. Draisel thought he was still in charge. Tom Lee, of course, knew he wasn't in charge. He wasn't in charge of anything. Uh, Mike West was in charge. The program
Michael
director,
O'Shea.
Michael O'Shea, was in charge. God, there was a pecking order that was extraordinary, and there was worthy of mentioning because they warred with each other as to who was really in charge.
Right. You had and really the ultimate guy that was in charge, which I never knew till years later. The ultimate guy that was in charge was Lance. The quiet accountant guy. He was the guy that was in charge. He was the money guy.
Money guy will always tell you what's really going on and what kind of week
And the
we're
money
having.
guy, right? The money guy will always. I mean, O'Shea could have been his blustery self, and Bob Case could have been running up and down, doing
We're all
this
just
and doing
waiting to
that.
become. They were all waiting to become Trump heads. They had to wait a little longer.
But the reality of it is that Lance, the dearly departed Lance, was the guy that was running the joint. He had to cook inlet money, and he was and when they needed to do something, he was the guy that they had to go get it done with. Which I mean, wasn't a bad thing.
Somebody had to be in
The only
charge.
somebody had to be in charge, or at least it wasn't. But they just had so many different people who were in charge of so many different things. They had so many different meetings about so many things that how was it ever going to survive?
The interesting thing about that is, I always thought that we'd end up on Cairo, and that still might happen. Although the
I don't
chances
think so,
of
Michael.
there's the reason I mention that is because what do they got going for themselves right now? They got the moniker News Talk, but they never even replaced their midday host who died.
Dory Monson.
Orion.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, no, they've replaced him. Listen, I've tried to get over to Cairo a couple of times since I've been back, more than a couple of times. And for whatever reason, they don't want me. So if you can get over there, God bless you.
I'm not going over there alone. Doesn't make any sense. The whole idea of the turnkey operation is no good if there's just one of us.
Yeah. And they could use the help, believe me. It's not a really good sounding radio station. But all right, let's get out of that.
That's enough about radio.
I don't think our average listener
knows what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, is that concerned about what what they're talking about at this and that and the other radio station. Did you? Today is President's Day. I guess I would start this President's Day by asking you, Michael Knight, who was your favorite president?
That's a good question. My favorite
That's why I asked.
president.
And don't tell me Millard Fillmore.
Well, the first president that I was involved in his election was Eisenhower. My parents were Democrats, and they voted for Adlai Stevenson. And Adlai Stevenson going up against Dwight D. Eisenhower wasn't much of a race. So Eisenhower was not my first. Well, I guess I can't say he was my favorite. I just was aware of him. The guy I wanted to win, who actually won, was Kennedy, but that didn't last very long. And after that, I picked presidents to vote for and chose my candidates, but I was never emotionally. I mean, how emotionally attached can you get to Hubert Humphrey?
Well,
and I've never voted for a Republican, and now I can possibly say I never will. And the reason I mention
I don't
that
think
is
there's anything left of the party to vote for, is there?
Well, there's the shit that they leave in the street.
Yeah.
The problems with Ukraine, the problems with Israel, the problems with the idiot savants who think they're going to impeach the House. First of all, the Homeland Security Chief, Mayorkas. Then they're going to go for Joe Biden without charges, without a case. It's a shit show of really ridiculous proportions. And between now and the election, Donald Trump's going to get in so much trouble that even he can't get elected.
One can only hope so. I'm an Eisenhower baby. I mean, I was born during the Eisenhower administration. I don't have any memory of Eisenhower except that
he always said nice things about you.
I remember in later years, as I found out about this and studied about it a little bit, I always had an affinity for him because he was the guy that invented the National Highway Defense System, or the Eisenhower National Highway Defense System, which is our interstate highway system.
Which means you can drive from
Germany, obviously.
You can drive from San Francisco to New York and never see America.
Never see America, go right past it. He was in Germany and he saw the Autobahn and he thought that was an excellent idea. It was a way that they could move troops around and move stuff around that they had to move around.
Autobahn. Fun off the Autobahn.
Like moving stuff around.
At high speeds.
So he got them to build that, fund that, and build that. And that's one of America's crowning achievements in many ways.
We couldn't do that today because we couldn't decide based on the hate in this country about where that road should go.
Yeah, no, they're trying to build a couple of interstates, a couple of new branches, and it's virtually impossible.
It just cannot. We can no longer do what we used to be able to do.
Well, I think that's true of many things. And then for me, it was Kennedy. I didn't vote for him, but we knew about him, and we were all, I don't know about all, but
hopeful.
We were hopeful that it was good, that it was going to change the old guard into a new guard, and that he would keep the Cubans out and the Russians out, which he so masterfully did.
But he pissed off somebody.
Well, he pissed off somebody, yeah. And so after that, actually, it's what kind of got me interested in presidents. So I really paid attention to specialists, to presidents, I should say. Um, and then obviously, right in my wheelhouse of high school and college, you had after high school of college, you had Nixon and
Wow.
Ford, and Carter seemed like a dope when he was there. Carter, like Lyndon B. Johnson, was a much better president after he was president.
Yes.
You came to see things and know things about Johnson and Carter that were both of them. And and then going through the list, Reagan.
I
I
had
don't know how we all
trouble.
made it to that.
I had trouble with Johnson because I got a lot of mail from Lyndon Johnson during the Vietnam War.
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
a lot of mail from him and his draft board in Santa Fe. I always thought it was interesting that the draft board in Santa Fe, California, was in the same building on the same floor with the same space as the Boy Scouts of America. I thought that was a bold. One thing led to the other. Be a Boy Scout, get all these merit badges, join the army, die in a rice paddy.
yeah. I mean, that certainly put a pretty big damper on his his record. I mean, he signed so many good pieces of legislation, pushed for so many good pieces of legislation.
In terms of legislation, probably the most successful president we've ever had, except for FDR.
Yeah, knew how to get what he needed, but yet
He would
the
tell you how to
price that
vote.
he paid to do that was to continue a war that we had no business being a part of.
Which is the formula we have followed since then.
Yes, it seems that we. So, my favorite, I guess, will probably always be Kennedy.
Yeah, me
You
too.
know, yeah, I think Kennedy will be the most. Although, again, I think the most influential president, because Kennedy holds such a mystique to us all, because there's the eternal what if.
Right.
I mean, I still remember every November 22nd when I was on Cairo, I would do a show asking what would America be like today if Kennedy had lived.
Did you get any good calls that were
Yeah, there was. Yeah,
insightful?
the picture of America was vastly different. From what I can remember off the top of my head, we wouldn't have continued in Vietnam. We would have gotten out of Vietnam. He would have told McNamara and McGeorge Bundy and those people to go screw themselves, and we
To
would have
take a
got out
gun.
of.
If you love this
We
war
would
so
have,
much, I want you to get a gun and go.
yeah. So we would have gotten out of that. That war would have been over. The Vietnamese people who killed 57,000 of our troops probably would have been one of our closest allies over there,
But it changed
because
what was known as Indochina.
they wanted our way of life. That's what they told Eisenhower. We want what you have. We want freedom. We want peace. We want.
Help us get rid of the French and we'll be your allies.
So, and the United States had the power at that time to tell the French, take a hike.
You're done.
You're done. You want us to let the Germans back in?
Why don't you work on cheese? You guys have got that down.
You got cheese, you got Renaults and Peugeots. So between those three things, and you got this plane to Concord coming.
Don't forget the Citroen.
Yeah. So it would have been I think our country would have been a vastly different place.
In fact, the advanced Citroens were so weird that there was no place to put a catalytic converter, and they had to stop selling them in California. They showed the market exactly where they wanted to go. They wanted to go right back to France with their cars and never sell them here again.
Huge selling cars. And then I guess once you go there, I mean, it's not really. I mean, Clinton did some things. Ronald Reagan did a lot of bad things. But each of the, well, not each, I'm not going to say each, many of the presidents, even the ones you don't like, still had something you could look at them and say, that president did something good.
The two Bushes.
Yeah, I mean, Biden, obviously. Trump, we'll get to him in a minute. Obama brought us health care in a way that should have happened under Nixon. Nixon wanted to bring us that type of health care. W, tell me what he did was good.
He retired to Texas to paint.
And got lucky because Trump came along and made him not the worst president we ever had.
Made him look good. Yeah.
Made him look good.
The funny thing about this list is I just don't have any ongoing sustained respect or fondness for any of them.
I have a fondness for Jimmy Carter. I think that Jimmy Carter, and it doesn't have much to do with his presidency as much as it does his post presidency things that he did. Carter would have been the greatest Secretary of State that this country probably ever had. He was great at negotiating. He negotiated the Sadat-Begin Accords. I mean, he really had a and he was a guy who could go into a situation, read it, and fix it, and help fix it.
Now, you two boys shake hands. The funny thing is, he made the Palestinians and the Israelis shake hands, and they did not want to. They did not want to say, okay, it's time for peace. They wanted to say, we're here to talk about peace, but both of us are really thinking that it's time for more war.
Right.
And that has characterized the so-called Middle East problem since then.
Well,
yeah, we'll talk about peace. We're happy to talk about peace. We'll talk about peace anytime you want. We'll talk about it until we're both blue in the face. We have no intention of doing anything but killing one another as soon as your back's turned. And we'll do it with the ballpoint pins that are on the round table right in front of you.
And then we get to our most recent debacle. Donald John Trump.
The funny thing is, I blame his base as much as I blame Trump. He's an ignorant, dark, odious, evil man. But the people who love him have to be equally evil, dark, odious, and responsible.
Well, do you know what the 45th president of the United States was doing over the weekend?
Was he running over puppies in a steamroller?
No, he's saving that for 4th of July.
Okay.
He
selling shoes. He was selling shoes.
He was at the SneakerCon in Philadelphia. Such an aptly named. And he is cranking out, what are they, $399?
You know, that's really a bargain.
He's yes. 399 Never Surrender sneakers unveiled over the weekend at SneakerCon in Philadelphia. They're like a road map to Mr. Trump's value system and electoral strategy in sartorial form, writes the New York Times.
Who makes them?
Boy, I don't. I'll give you five. I'll give you five guesses. What country they're made in?
They're made in China.
Yeah, okay, that's one. So I'm just trying to see if I can quickly draw up here a quick picture of the sneakers because they're so
they're foul.
Yeah, see now there's a lot of different types of Trump sneakers on here, but you want the ones that are there they go. There's the actual Trump sneaker right there. That is what
America wants.
That is what you're looking for right there.
They're $399. They're $400.
$400. There you go. All right, let's see if I can. I should be able to do this quicker than I do, but share screen. Okay, share screen. There you go. That's your Trump sneaker.
I don't see it.
You're not seeing it on the screen?
No.
Huh. That's weird.
While you're doing that, I did get news from my sister Diana in Marin County that there it is. I see it. That the Fairfax is underwater. Water's going into the shops on Sir Francis Drake because of the atmospheric river that's running through Old Marin.
Yeah, I got to give my sister a call. I mean, I think she should be all right, but you never know these days. That's the $399 Converse.
Well, it's going to look great on the dumpy women who intend to vote for Donald Trump and adore him in their own pathetic way.
I mean, I don't think they'll be able to get their foot in there, will they?
Well, does it come in all sizes, or is it just one size fits all?
No, in these things, they probably got elastic in it, and it's one size fits all.
I wouldn't doubt it.
So that's what your Trump sneaker looks like.
Trump said, shoe size. What are we doing with shoe sizes? Everybody's got feet. I don't care what size they are. Wear this sneaker. But Mr. President, it's got to fit the foot. No, I want everybody to wear the same size. And that's what I want.
I just believe it to be pretty bizarre. I mean, it's just, to me, it's I don't know how in the world people. I mean, why would you buy them?
Well, with it, do you get paperwork like a motion to quash a subpoena? Write your own legal motions at home.
I mean, you couldn't go on the run with those things because people would immediately see you. Because there can't be that many people in the United States of America that would wear something that ugly.
And people who wear those shoes don't run anyway. Plus, is there actually a way to get them? Just because you said you can buy them doesn't mean you can.
Oh, I'm sure that you can go on Trump. Probably sold out. I'm sure that you can probably go on Trump.com and find them. Let's, at the risk of blowing up my computer, Trump.com. Experience the world of Trump.
I have. Thank you so much.
That's what it says. The opening salvo here says, experience the world of Trump. They're going to have to change this
It's
because
a world where
quality
not
crops
everything,
aren't going to be there anymore.
not everything in the world of Trump actually lives long enough to be in the world of Trump. Many things try to get in the world of Trump, but they expire before they get into the world of Trump. Maybe that judge in Florida who's keeping his Mar-a-Lago case from going forward can wear a pair under her robes.
Well, you know what, Michael? Unfortunately, you can't get a pair.
They never made them.
But
Will he take my $3.99 and hold them for me?
the shoes called the Never Surrender high top sneaker sell for $399. The
But
pair, along with two low top sneakers and a $99 bottle of Victory 47 perfume and cologne, were available for purchase on a new website.
Never Surrender cologne. It's the cologne that says, "Here I am."
Strict limit of 3 pairs per customer. Get these before they sell out. They have the T-Red Wave. Oh, they have different ones. They have the 45 with the T on the side in red. They have the 45 with the T on the side in white, and you can get those for only $199 a piece. You have Victory 47 cologne by President Trump and Victory 47 perfume by President Trump. You also get a Trump keychain
Oh, I want one of those.
and a superhero charm.
A superhero charm?
A superhero charm. Yeah, it's a thing of Trump dressed up in a superhero uniform. These just look like the absolute worst possible shoes that you might be able to.
Are they made by Converse, you said?
Oh no, I
If so,
said
the
they are
seven-
Converse.
Oh, I see.
That's what they should be calling them. Converse.
Oh, they are.
Well, that's what you have, Michael. That's what you have these
In the
days.
world
You
of Trump?
have in the world of Trump. That's President's Day. President's Day has devolved from 2 days off in the 60s because we would get one for Lincoln and one for Washington. The
Now we
12th,
don't get. Now they just got all bumped together with Warren G. Harding and the rest of them.
right. We were there to celebrate our greatest presidents, and now we're
Or
screwed.
not.
So you
Did,
could
Ab-
pick.
did
You had
Abraham
New York.
did Abraham Lincoln have shoes dedicated to his presidency, do you think?
Boots, I think. Boots. I think he had boots. Now, buy 2 or more items and get 2 bonuses exclusively available for 1 day, 23 hours, 3 minutes, and 1 second. If you're so inclined to do something like that.
I'm not actively depressed, but I'm on the edge of depression just hearing about this.
I mean, what kind of idiot buys these things? I mean, well, it is funny though. because I could almost hear my father looking at Beetle boots in 1964 and saying, "What kind of idiot buys these things?" We had them when we were kids. We used to call them the Cuban heel.
They still have them, but they're harder to come by than they used to be. By that I mean, you really, if you go to England, you can buy the real deal.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They
You can
still
buy
make
them
them Chelsea
in New
boots.
York City. You can buy them in probably New York City, probably L.A. There's different shoe stores that carry that type of retro shoe. You ever have
And
a
we
pair
like,
of Beetle boots?
yeah. I bought a pair in London and broke the heel on the cobblestones.
Yeah, they were sore, man. My my feet were not made for these shoes. So, by the way, if you buy two items, the bonus two of the official Trump sneaker launch party is that you will get an invitation to the official Trump sneaker launch party. Date to be determined.
What about the locale? Is it Mar-a-Lago?
Probably. Well, I mean, it could be in Mar-a-Lago. It could be in a. It could be in a.
Warehouse in Philadelphia.
Well, I wouldn't go there, but it could be in a federal prison near you.
Now that
It wouldn't be on the realm of possibility that it would be in a federal prison, right?
I think I might want to go to that one.
Oh man, I don't think I want anything to do with this. I think this is a bad idea, Michael. It means
The
that these people have $300 that they can throw away. I mean, who buys these things? Who sends a freaking check to Donald Trump for $300?
I think a lot of people would. I really do. Remember, he's not just a candidate; he's also a prophet.
Yeah. Well, that's how he's going to raise his defense fund, I guess.
He can't raise it fast enough because he's being billed like 350 million every time he loses a case.
Trump and the Associated Design are registered trademarks and are trademarks of CIC Ventures LLC. Trump sneakers are not designed, manufactured, distributed, sold by Donald J. Trump, the Trump Organization, or any of their respective affiliates or principals. 45 Footwear LLC uses the Trump name, image, and likeness under a license agreement which may be terminated or revoked according to its terms.
What about Eric Trump?
GetTrumpSneakers.com is not political and has nothing to do with any political campaign.
What about Eric and Don Jr.? Do they have shoes or just flip flops?
I'm sure even Kimberly Guilfoyle has a pair of these.
Oh God! Now you've ruined my breakfast.
By the way, in keeping with court orders, the 45 Footwear LLC is located at 1309 Coffeen Avenue, Suite 1200, Sheridan, Wyoming.
The home of sneakers.
82801. Mr. Spiegel would never put this in his catalog.
No, Chicago
Mr.
606.
Sears, Mr. Sears would never have any of these in his category.
What a President's Day. It's degenerated into a marketing scheme. All those poor people at Converse, I hope they haven't made too many of those shoes, because when you get in bed with Trump, you do rise up with fleas.
Something tells me that at some point in the not too distant future, first of all, you know what's going to happen right away. The Chinese are going to knock these off.
And sell them for 99.
They'll be in every sneaker store on 149th Street in the Bronx.
Not exactly his target demographic.
They'll be there, and oh my God. People in the South Bronx will be walking around with Trump sneakers on.
Liberated from the shoe stores.
Oh my God. It's so.
Well, Donald Trump always comes up with a way to ruin President's Day. I was just thinking about Jimmy Carter when you mentioned him, because he's can't last for very much longer, although we've been saying that for quite a while. I wonder if Donald Trump will be invited to his funeral.
Well, I think you got to invite all the former presidents. Will he go? Hopefully, he won't. Yeah, yeah, it's probably not long for Jimmy Carter, huh? Well, he didn't even look. I mean, when he went to Rosalind's funeral, he didn't. I mean, he didn't look like he knew what was going on.
It didn't appear to be there.
I pray for that guy, man. I pray for Jimmy Carter because I think Jimmy Carter was a good guy.
He put on his tool belt, hammered in some nails, and did
Yeah.
some good work.
Just a good guy. What did you think of the taking of the murder of Navalny, the Russian dissident, and how long it took Trump to say anything about it? Because he was too busy doing his sneakers.
Well, the mess with Navalny is that Donald Trump doesn't care about him. He cares about Putin. He's a supporter of Putin. The Republican Party supports Putin. The Republican Party stands against the freedom of Ukraine. They stand for the despotism of the Russian government. And they clasp hands with the darkest elements of political murdering on this planet. They endorse, underline, and in any other way celebrate the evil that is the Russian government, because they espouse that evilness for themselves. Mike Johnson, you're evil.
They really
Donald Trump, you're evil. These are evil people willing to go to any lengths to satisfy their dear leader, the Führer.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the death of Navalny saddens the world, I think, or at least freedom loving people of the world. I'm really encouraged that his wife is going to take up his mantle, but, you know.
Why did he go back? Why did he go back?
Because I guess from what I've read, he didn't feel like he could accomplish anything being outside of the country. He knew that if he was inside the country, that Putin would have to talk about him all the time. That Putin would have to account for him. And in that sense, he was right. I mean, every time Navalny went somewhere, it was it was news. Where if he'd just been sitting in Germany, he'd be like who was the guy, the dissident that Solzhenitsyn. He was outside the country and nobody get. I mean, Putin obviously works under the old KGB standards.
Well, you can live in Munich and have a beer and a sausage for lunch, or you can go home and be in the gulag for the rest of your life, as pitiful as it is.
Yeah, we control the media here so much that if you say anything that
It
we
won't be
have
heard.
we have to account for it. But if you're in France or Switzerland or the United States or something like that,
We'll kill you with a poison-tipped umbrella.
yeah, I mean, it was kind of daring that they went and tried to kill that guy in England a few years ago.
They sure messed up that park doing it.
Yeah, didn't the Beatles write something there?
I think
Well,
it was.
it's a shame, Michael, because it's a President's Day, and there's so much turmoil around the presidency right now that instead of celebrating the presidents that we've had, we wonder how long the presidency will last.
How did we go so far wrong? Well, it all began with Donald Trump, and it's all going to have to end with Donald Trump. And until he is dealt with legally, finally, and without question, we won't be free.
But I mean, is it really all Donald Trump? Or is
And
it us?
his
Is it us accepting
it's
so much
30% of
less
us.
than we deserve?
30% of us, yes.
It's us accepting so much less than we deserve, so much less than we
And,
deserve, so much less than we owe.
and also longing for a darker, more violent country where uh, people are just, where the streets are cleared with shotguns every night to rid us of the black and brown problem that our country is suffering under. That's what the white angry Midwesterners want more than anything. They want revenge. They want blood. They want violence. They want chaos. They want unrest.
It's heartbreaking.
But so they can stand at the gate of their farm and fend off the attackers with their 12 gauge. I doubt that. Plus, it's like the zombie. It's like the zombie hordes. You get the first one, but the next 20 get you.
I think of what people fought for this country. I think especially what my father fought for, or what he thought he was fighting for. It's a place that would be free. A place where people could pick up and go where they wanted to go and do what they wanted to do. I don't know so much that he fought for. I mean, I don't want to sit here and say he fought for all men to be equal, because I think that would be. But I think what he fought for is for all people to have opportunity, whether they were black or white or whatever. That I see would be in line. I mean, again, I'm never going to sit here and say that my old man was a great, equal rights advocate or anything like that. But I think he realized that for anybody to live, you had to have opportunity to make yourself better, and that it all couldn't go to the top. That you
Where
had to
did
have some
your,
of it stay down here.
where was your dad during the war? What locale?
Philippines.
It was a busy place.
Yeah, it was a busy time for him, and he was he spent 3 years in the Philippines. I think 3 years in the Philippines. And it was, I mean, in those days you didn't question it; you just went. Although
Duty.
he was eager to go. I'll always put that on him because he was like, all right, you know what? I could sit here and fight people on the streets of Brooklyn, or I could sit here and fight people on the streets of Manila. Think I'll take Manila.
Let's start with Manila, see how it goes.
Yeah, let's start with Manila and see where we go from there. I don't know, Mikey. It's a very depressing President's Day in my mind. So, well, I'm going to go see if they have a 14 triple X Trump sneaker because I think I got to get a pair of these.
You look good in gold, Vinny. You always have.
I think, Mikey, but I'm going to wait till they knock them off and put them on the stores on 149th Street in the Bronx.
You
See, I
want to
want the
knock off.
bootleg. I want the bootleg Trump sneakers. I want to know that I'm wearing a pair of sneakers that somebody freaking ripped him off for.
But summertime in New York, the sole will come off on the hot sidewalk.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I want to know that he's just good. That there are people right now in China in a factory making up jigs to snap them sneakers out, man.
If
That's what I want to know.
Put a little bad blood on it from the wet market, that would be great.
All right, Mikey. Listen, I'm gonna hit it. It's a fractious. No, not a fractious Friday. What am I saying? I don't know if we're gonna have a show on Wednesday because I'm gonna be in Portland, so I'll know a little more about the lay of the land tomorrow.
Okay, what's the deal? Car show?
Portland Auto Show.
Yeah, I knew it.
And then, if not, we'll have our show on Friday. But without a doubt, we'll.
Why don't you take Wednesday? Why don't you just take Wednesday off, and we'll see you on Friday?
Yeah. Why don't we do that? Let's take Wednesday off, and I'll see you on Friday.
Okay, Ben. Have a good auto show. Have a remarkable President's Day.
You too. Get yourself a pair of those Trump sneakers, pal.
Oh,
but
I'm going to
only if they're counterfeit.
It shall be done.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
And I want that foul-smelling perfume combination perfume. You can't have a combination perfume cologne. It's got to be one or the other.
What must that smell like? Oh, my God. All right, listen, I'll see you Friday if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise. Peace, love, and Manischewitz, Mikey.
Have a President's Day that you'll never forget or never remember, depending on how you want to look at it. We'll see you, Vinnie. What a wine.
Thanks, Mikey.